The best thing about WordPress is the plugins. You can transform a standard WordPress website into an e-learning system or a membership site, collect bookings or data, or even manage file downloads, all using plugins. If you can think of it, there'll be a plugin to help you achieve it. Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Sparks, and today I'm going to share my favourite plugins with you, most of which I use on every single website that I create. If you're just starting out with plugins, you may want to check out my other tutorial, which teaches you how to install a plugin on your website in 2 minutes. And stick around till the end to find out my top tips for installing plugins on your website. My all-time favourite plugin, especially if you're just starting out, is Elementor. So Elementor is a page builder, but it uses a drag and drop interface, which is really interactive and it makes it very simple to use. You can drag in controls, you can move things around, you can change colours, you can save your brand colours, you can set up defaults, all of which makes it really easy to create a website. The next one is a Kismet, which is an anti-spam plugin. And this is really useful if you have a blog on your website and you're allowing comments. So Kismet will stop any spam from coming through there, which is really useful. The next one is Yoast, which is an SEO plugin. And this, if you use Elementor, integrates really well with that. You can actually see the Yoast settings within Elementor, which is really helpful. Optimizing your website for SEO can be a little tricky, but with Yoast, it gives you suggestions of what you can do to improve your post or your page, and suggestions that can help you rank higher. If you go for Yoast Premium, you can do keyword optimization really easily. If you're using Elementor, it does have a built-in form function, but I absolutely love Ninja Forms. So Ninja Forms has lots of add-ons that allow you to do almost anything with forms. You could have a multi-step form, you can have conditional forms, you can link it up with third-party software, you can do all sorts with it. But the best thing about it is that it records every message that is sent to your website. So you can have a look in your admin screen and check that you haven't missed any of your messages. The next one is Optimal, which is an image optimization plugin. It controls your images, it compresses them, it uploads them to a CDN, which is an external storage, and it just makes it super quick to get your images. But the best thing about Optimal, because there are other image optimization plugins out there, which I do like Smush, but the best thing about Optimal is that it also serves Retina-ready images. So if someone's looking at it on an iPhone or on a Mac, or a really good monitor, then they're going to see the best quality image that they can. But if someone's looking at it on an old phone, on mobile data, they don't have they're not on Wi-Fi, then Optimal knows that and serves them a much smaller image than it would to someone on Wi-Fi on a large high-definition monitor. Now, all websites should have a backup plugin installed. It just gives you full control of how your website is getting backed up. If you're using a managed hosting, someone like Flywheel, there you can automatically schedule your backups from within the tool they have. So maybe you don't need it in that case, but most other people will need Updraft Plus or some other type of backup plugin. But the reason that I love Updraft Plus is because you can store your backups externally. So it's not just storing them onto your computer, which, because obviously they could be quite big, especially if your website has a lot of images. You can upload them to Google Drive, or it can upload them to Dropbox or any external storage that you've got set up. Another great thing that you can do with Updraft Plus is clone your website. So if you wanted to clone it, test some things out, you can do that. And you can also use it to migrate. So if you have your website currently on one hosting and you want to switch it over to another, you can use an add-on from Updraft Plus to help you to do that. The next plugin is a caching plugin called WP Rocket. So this will speed up your website in a few clicks, literally like it says like that. You just install it and it's going to speed up your website for you. This is really important because you want your website to be as fast as possible for your users and also for search engine optimization. So slow websites get penalized by search engines. So the faster your website, the better. The only thing I'd say that if you were going to install WP Rocket or any other caching plugin is to do it after you finish development, because it it can delay things going live on your website. So if you've just made a change, you go and look at it, it might not be there. So always refresh the cache if it's a live environment. But if you're in a development environment and you're just getting started up, then WP Rocket is something that you would install right at the end when you finish the majority of the development. The next one is another one that should be in your arsenal, is the security plugin. And this one is called WordFence. So again, quick install, straight out of the box, your website is going to be protected. It will do a scan to make sure you haven't got anything dodgy on there already. It scans your website regularly. It looks for any file changes, which could indicate that someone has had hacked in. And it will warn you and say this doesn't look right and help you fix that, especially on a really old website. So if you've been blogging for a long time, for example, installing this will just look through all your old files, get rid of any junk, get rid of anything that might be a security risk. But in general, it just stops your website from getting hacked, full stop. And even if you think, oh, I'm just a tiny company, who's going to be interested in my tiny bakery website or my floristry website? But they're not interested in you specifically. They want to get to the server. So they target smaller businesses because they think they're not going to be as secure, and especially if they're on lower quality hosting, which might not also be as secure. So make sure you install WordFence and set it up and have a read through and see what works for you. The next one is insert headers and footers. Now I have a whole video on this particular plugin, and this just helps you add code snippets to your website. So say for example you want to install Google Analytics, or you want to add a Facebook pixel, or you need to add a script in for a cookie plugin, for example, then you're going to need to be able to add that to your WordPress website. So using this plugin just helps you to quickly and simply and safely as well add it to your website and ensure that if you update your theme or you change something in your website, that data is not going to get wiped out. And the next one is Cookiebot, which is going to help you make sure that your website is compliant, especially if you're dealing with users within the EU. So the great thing about this particular one is that you can totally customize it if you pay for premium, but even if you don't, you can still customize what the user sees. The user can choose whether to block some of your cookies or all of your cookies. It also helps you to see what data your website is sharing with third parties, which is important for your privacy policy. And it's also useful for the CCPA compliance, which is the California Consumer Privacy Act. Again, super easy to install and set up, and you'll be compliant in minutes. The next one is Smashballoon, which is a social media plugin which helps you to get feeds onto your WordPress website. So I have a video on how to use this to install an Instagram feed on your website. It's really customizable. It allows you to get a really lovely looking feed on there, and again, super easy to use. Now, all of the plugins that I've shown you so far are plugins that I use all the time on every website that I create. But the next three are pretty specialist ones that are more for doing specific jobs on your website. So the first one is WooCommerce, which will help you create an e-commerce site. So if you don't have or want a shop on your website, then you don't need to install WooCommerce. But if you do, then you're in luck because it's a free plugin, it's very comprehensive, it's the most frequently one used out there, and you can add a shop for absolutely no cost whatsoever to your website in minutes again. And if you use it with Elementor, then you can customize the way your shop looks, which is very, very useful. The next one is LearnDash, which I use for all my e-learning courses. It's a brilliant e-learning plugin, and it allows you to set up multiple courses. You can integrate it with WooCommerce so that you can take payments on your website, and so people can pay for the course and then get instant access. So it means you don't have to do lots of admin, which is great. It creates a really immersive learning experience. It's got quizzes in there and certificates and assignments, basically everything you need to create a new course for your business. And the final one, which again would only be used if you need a membership site on your website, is MemberPress. Now this calls itself the all-in-one membership plugin for WordPress. So it allows you to convert your WordPress website into a membership site. So you can control users, control who sees what, set up monthly subscriptions, everything you need to create a really amazing membership site. That's all the plugins that I'm going to share with you today, but I have a few tips on installing plugins just to get you started. So the first is that you shouldn't just install all the plugins that I've said, and you definitely shouldn't just install every plugin that someone recommends that you use. Have a look at what you've got. So if you already have an existing website, then I suggest you do an audit. So just look at each one, Google it, find out what it does, try to work out what it does on your website, and get rid of anything that you don't need. So you can deactivate it first to see if it breaks anything, and then reactivate it if you still need it. But if not, then delete it. To have ones hanging around that you're not using can be a security risk, and also means you've got to update them, which who wants to do extra updates? So I definitely get rid of any plugins that you're not using. The other thing that I'd suggest when using plugins is that you try to keep it to a maximum of 20, and that is a lot. 20 plugins is a lot of plugins to have on your website, because every plugin that you add takes up a bit of space on your server. It can bloat your website, could be doing things in the background. So try and keep it to as few as possible, and also check that your plugins are not conflicting. So I've just mentioned Elementor there, which is a page builder. Before you just go ahead and install that on your website, check your existing plugins. Do you already have a page builder? So for example, if you're using something like Beaver Builder or Divi, if you install Elementor, then you're going to have conflicts and it's going to cause problems. Have you found any plugins that you're going to install on your website today, or have I missed any? I'm always on the lookout for new plugins to try. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time today and watching my video. And don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I will see you again soon.